to meet you all. Following on from the talk just now, I made a conscious decision to be here today. So thank you all for sticking around and listening to a very short talk about Hired. I hope most of you have been to the stall. We're just over in booth C over there and tried on our headsets and had a go. I've never used them before until I came to Hired, and it was an amazing experience. So please go and have play before you go. And hopefully at the end of this talk, if my colleague comes through, we'll be announcing the winner of the VR headset and the phone. So, Hired. What about Hired? Well, Hired is a platform to help you find a job you love. That's our core mission. I like to think of it a bit like a Match.com to find a job. What we're trying to do is put the candidates back in control of their job search process. In the old process, you would have to use your friends to find a job, or you go and speak to a recruiter. And it's much harder to find a job that you really love. What we're trying to do is make that experience much more pleasant for you, much more enjoyable, so you discover the opportunities that are right for you. So how do we do that? Well, it's a marketplace approach. Many of you probably work on marketplaces. So what we have is in the US, we have over 3,000 companies using us. In the UK, we have over 350 companies on the Hired platform. And the idea with the marketplace is designed to make hiring and getting hired less painful. So how do we do that? It's all about transparency and creating alignment between candidates and companies. It's about creating an unbiased viewpoint. So you have somebody you can talk to on the other side who's not getting paid on commission to give you advice. And it's about allowing you to decide which interviews that you go to and which ones you don't, what salary you're interested in and which ones you're not. Because at the end of the day, your time is precious. We want you to be connecting with companies you're actually interested in. So what can you expect with Hired? Well, you sign up to Hired, and you'd expect in your first week to get somewhere between sort of 3 and 6+ interview requests. Now, the amount of interview requests you get obviously depends on your skill set and the demand for your skill set. You also get this amazing person called a talent advocate. Now, you might not have heard of a talent advocate, but I'm sure many of you have heard of careers coaches. And the talent advocate's job is to act as your careers coach, to be the person that you can go to and say, hey, this is what I want to do. Can you tell me whether or not this role will be the right fit for me? And how do I prepare for this interview? How do I decline an interview request in a polite way? That's your dedicated point of contact, and those people are not paid on commission. They're actually assessed based on the experience that you have on the platform, and their entire job is about giving you an amazing experience. Candidate experience is actually at the core of the Hired model, and so some of the things that we do to make your experience better is we'll organize an Uber to take you to an interview. If you have a really bad experience, we might send you some chocolates. And if you actually find a job through the platform, we do a couple of special things for you. So obviously you get a job, awesome. But if you do get hired, then we send you a box of goodies, and the bottle of vintage Dom Perignon is actually something that goes in the box. But we also pay you a bonus, and that's pretty much unheard of, that we give you part of the fee that we earn as a bonus to say, well done, congratulations. And the bonus is £1,200. So why use Hired in the UK? Well, we've been around for 3 years in the US, but in the UK we've been around for just under a year. And in that time, we've got over 350 companies using us. Many of the companies who are sponsoring today are actually users. Sky, M&S are already users of Hired. And these are just some of the other names of companies, many of which you will have heard of, hopefully. And some which you haven't, and that's pretty exciting to discover some of the early stage startups that are looking to bring people like you into their fold. So how does it work from a point of view of using Hired? Well, you do most of the work up front. You create a profile, a bit like a dating site. You create a profile, and you say what you want. You talk about what you've done in the past, projects you're proud of, and things you want to do in the future. And that's pretty important. You give information about the salary that the preferred base salary, obviously being realistic, and you give an indication of the role that you're most interested in doing, or the roles you're most interested in doing, and you give indications of your experience in various languages. And then once you go onto the platform, you get connected with a talent advocate. They can help you prepare your profile. And once you get through that sort of curation process, we put you live on the platform. When you go live on a platform on a Monday morning, you should expect over the course of a week or 2 weeks to get sort of between the 3 and 6 interview requests. And then you sit back and the companies make interview requests to you. So you do this work about saying what you want, and then people come to you and say, hey, would you be interested in this role? So they're kind of selling to you, which is a nice way of experiencing the process rather than you having to apply for jobs. We all know that finding a job can take a lot of time. And you get this talent advocate who can give you life and careers advice. They may not be able to give you as much life advice, but if you need it, they can be a great ear to talk to. You know, I've spent all day working and I haven't got around to doing that tech test that somebody sent me. How can I communicate that to the company that I'm really interested? And they can help you with that. So Hired, we've been around for 3 years, as I said. We're in 14 markets. 14 markets means cities, so we're in many of these cities in the US. I didn't update the fact that we are also in Toronto. We've just opened our San Diego office. We're about to open our Denver office. And we've been in London now for a year. And this sort of just gives you an indication of the number of companies in each market and sort of the salary ranges. And as I said, you put your preferred base salary on your profile, and then when companies make interview requests to you, we want you to have transparency about what that role looks like. So companies have to give an indication of the salary that they would be willing to pay you, and that's non-binding. It is up for negotiation at the end of the process, but it is transparent. They also give an idea of the role, and they tell you a bit more about the company. And this can just gives you a sense of how fast Hired has grown. When we launched in Q4 2012, we had a hire every month. Now we're having a hire being made on the platform every 4 hours during the work week. So hopefully you'll be one of those people when you're looking for a job, or if you're looking to hire people who can use this service. Now I just thought this would be interesting for you guys. We've looked at the demand for different skill sets, different languages in London, in the UK, and relatively JavaScript is the most in-demand skill set amongst the companies that use us in London. Now, obviously, that's not comprehensive, but it does give you a sense that you guys and your skills are in demand. So I thought before I go on to the final stage of my talk, I just give you a sense of the Hired experience. So we've got 2 quotes here from candidates who've used the Hired platform. I know there are a couple of people here today who've used the Hired platform and been hired through it, so if you're around, so you come and say hi. But Hired was the quickest and most professional experience I've had in my job search, and at the end of the day, it helped me find a job I wanted. Hired puts you on the right track and lets you take control and decide the right career path for you. And that was from Sandra, who is a data scientist at Lyst. She was actually our first hire in London, and I was pretty pleased that she was both a female developer or a female data scientist and our first hire. So if you want to be part of the Hired experience and you want to find a job through Hired, then you can sign up using this URL, hired.com or hired.com/Angular. It is case sensitive, so please use lowercase. If you do use this link, then you will be able to get a 2x signing bonus if you end up getting hired through the platform, which would be £2,400. So if you want to know more about Hired, we have a bunch of people who are standing by our booth. You can go and have a play on their VR headsets. And we are or will be announcing the winner very shortly. James is going to come up. My assistant is going to come up. Apologies, oh, excellent. Oh, sorry. So the winner, and luckily this is somebody whose name I can pronounce, is Frederick Berlin. So if Frederick can come to the booth and pick up your headset and phone, we'd love to give it to you. So thank you very much, everyone, for participating, and thank you for listening to me. I'd be happy to answer any questions.